Hello, Ken, my man. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. And thank you for your patience. We had technical issues, but we got it all resolved. That's a beautiful one. Thank you so very much for being here. And
Yeah.
yeah, my man, Ken, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say, Ken, thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, Ken, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Ken, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, excuse me. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Ken. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. I tell you, here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Ken that you are today. That alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. Yeah. And that's why you got the request for me to be on the show. Because Ken, you see, I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your journey, your work, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. Those things are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Ken is doing, and not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Ken. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, Ken, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Well, I love the mango analogy because mango's my favorite thing to eat.
I
I
love it.
and I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, my man, and thank you too. You see, okay, let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one can, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, in darkness, ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Ken on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Ken, excuse me, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Ken, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Ken got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Ken, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you. So, yes, I feel lucky for this life, and I'm 73 years old now. But one of the reasons that I came to your attention is that I I'm big on bicycle riding, and I've ridden my bicycle across the United States. Um, one trip was 3,700 miles. Gosh, I forgot to convert that to kilometers.
Kilometers.
But yes, so since my 67th birthday, I've ridden over 9,000 miles on my bicycle. I had polio as a baby, and I became a diabetic when I was in my 40s. But I did those trips by myself, a solo trips across the United States from Florida to the West Coast.
That tells us that you've got a very, very strong knee. Wow. Wow. That's a beautiful word, my man. And you see, I find that very interesting because it tells me that whatever it is you set your heart, your mind to achieve is definitely possible. I tell you, it's amazing. And thank you for, deciding to share that part of you. It's very inspiring. So let us get started with this one. Are you ready for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what does an adventurous mindset mean to you?
Well, so I think I was born with that because I've always been interested in other places and other people. And so I've in my younger years, I was working in Alaska in the summer, and in the winter, I would go on these backpacking trips to other places in the world. So I've been in 30 countries, um, backpack traveling, South America, Southeast Asia, and stuff like that. I like developing countries, and so I spent a lot of time doing that, and that's enriched my life.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about the mind. All right. So how can the mind become a stumbling block?
Well, um, if I may, Elisha, I wrote a book when I finished the trip to Seattle, the 3,700-mile trip. A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, asked, "How did you do it at 69 years old with your afflictions? How did you do it while the rest of us are sitting on our couches watching television?" And so that inspired me to write a book, but not just about the bicycle journey, but how the mind affects us when we set out to do things like that. Because our mind, honestly, is the greatest stumbling block. There's uh, even once I started on both my trips across the United States, for 5 or 6 or 7 days, I'm mostly talking myself out of quitting because it's not easy.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's especially not easy for me. But but once I got over the hump, I call it the hump, because I'm retired, so I don't have to ride my bicycle across the United States. I wanted to for adventuresome reasons. And once after 6 or 7 days, I never ever thought about quitting again. And the last trip took 2.5 months. So just never thought about quitting again. But I had to get over that hump first. And because I was able to get over that hump, I had two really awesome trips across the United States, meeting tons of people and
Wow.
spending a lot of time alone. But I will also say, alone is not lonely. Alone is a
Hmm.
situation, and lonely is the mind. It's a state of mind. And so some people, I've talked to cyclists that couldn't get over that, the fact that they're spending so much time alone. And, but again, that's the mind. That's a state of mind. Alone is just a situation.
Hmm. I think I got that. Alone is not lonely. It's just a situation. Wow. I got that. I got that. And that's a profound way of answering questions. I love that. You're making it very easy to understand. Thank you, my man. Okay, so what about this one? Did you struggle to learn how to ride a bike?
I learned when I was very young, and I don't honestly remember struggling any more than any other kid would. I mean, my left leg is quite a bit weaker than my right leg, so I've always had a limp. But when you're young, a lot of times your determination takes over. So I don't remember it being a struggle.
I got that. So what about this one? Can you describe, is it pronounced stealth camping?
Oh, so I'll tell you, Elisha, I'm not overwhelmed with money. So if I wasn't stealth camping, I couldn't have made this trip. And stealth camping is I'm an inveterate stealth camper. I ride into the evening, and then around 6 p.m., a while before dark, I start looking for a hiding place. And sometimes, uh-oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still with you. Go on.
Okay. Um, sometimes if I'm in a woods area, I can find a place to go into the woods. I have a little one-man tent. And in towns, I would often go behind churches that did not have houses behind them. Because with stealth camping, you try not to be seen. And so uh, it actually worked for me. I most of the time I stealth camped. Very rarely I went to a campground if there was one there at 6 or 7 p.m. And occasionally I would get a motel room because after 5 days of bike riding,
Hmm,
you can imagine you need a shower and stuff like
I
that.
tell you.
So it's the hard way, but I'm telling you, it was extremely good for me. I only had trouble in one spot out of all the nights that I spent um, stealth camping.
Wow, just one spot. Wow.
Yeah, one place I got kicked out.
Whoa. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Oh well, I was behind a church in North Florida, and I was all set up, and the grass was like a putting green. It was a beautiful place, no houses. But then someone came to check the grounds. And I don't know if they checked the grounds because they had suffered vandalism or why that guy happened to come back behind the church and found me. And he was plenty nice enough, but he felt he had to call somebody on the phone and clear it. And the person on the phone suggested that I move on. So that was unfortunate because it was almost dark. I had an extremely
Whoa.
hard time finding another place,
Wow.
and uh, and I found a crummy place. But part of the problem is with my limp, with my weaker legs from polio,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
push through brush, and I can hardly cross a ditch. So I had to do both in that case, and I was in a not very good spot.
Um,
But I'm not complaining. Just that's one of the things you run into, you know, because when you're riding your bike for 2.5 months, you're bound to run into stuff.
Mm, I tell you. And the fact that you didn't allow that to discourage you from, keep going. That's a beautiful one, and that's really inspiring. So we have two more to go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so let's get personal a bit. Okay. You mentioned polio. All right. So when did that happen? Like, how old were you when you contracted polio?
Well, I was 9 months old, so it's little bit to my advantage that I got polio at that young age because it wasn't like I was already walking around and then couldn't. I had to grow into it. So it has always been, I don't remember 9 months old and having polio and walking with a limp and wearing brace shoes when I was young. That's all was normal for me. I mean, I could see other people didn't have brace shoes, but it was just normal. It was I had to plow on, and that might be why I've been able to plow on to all this traveling.
Mm, awesome. I got that. So what about this? When were you diagnosed with diabetes?
I was in my 40s. I don't exactly remember when, but for a long time, that kind of ended my backpack traveling around the world because it's a
Mm,
little tedious. You have to learn when you get diagnosed with diabetes, you have to change your lifestyle. And so
exactly.
yes, but by the time I retired and was riding my bicycle all the time, I was riding 100 miles a week for more than a year before I set out on these adventures, backpack. I mean, pack traveling on the bike. I have a Shirley long haul trucker bike. It's excellent. It's a rigid framed steel frame bike and it carries heavy loads. I always start from my house with 50 pounds on my bicycle. And so I've made all of these trips that way.
Wow.
And
And that's a great
uh,
bicycle.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, but you did ask about the diabetes. And yes,
Yeah.
um, you have to you have to be careful to not suffer low blood sugar events. Like if my blood sugar is running high, that is not going to knock me out. But too low of blood sugar can actually make a diabetic go unconscious. So I had to figure out sort of a regime so that that didn't happen. Like I do insulin, I'm insulin dependent diabetic, but like never take insulin at night on these trips. But another thing about these trips is when you're exercising that much, riding 50 miles or more almost every day, you don't need a lot of insulin. Sitting around my house, I need a lot more insulin because I'm not exercising so much.
That's true. I never knew that. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So
Oh,
finally,
sure.
Ken, yeah, what advice do you have for folks who would like to get started in the beautiful stuffs that you're doing, like going on a bike journey, this adventure of a thing? What would you like to say to them?
Well, there's two aspects to that, and the most important one is your mind. Y- you, I feel joyful most of the time, and on these trips, even stuff happens and it robs you of your joy temporarily, but that's up to you. It's up to you. It's all up to us. And I don't know what the limits are. I mean, here I am, Mr. Diabetic, Mr. Polio, and I'm riding 3,000 miles on my bike. So there's a lot of getting out of your own way. And honestly, that is what my book is about. It's about how to get out of your own way.
powerful, and thank you for writing that book. So, for folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, or make a purchase of your book again, how can that be possible?
Well, so so in my book, and it's called The Road Spoke, um, I have an email address. So anyone, I'm trying to give people hopefully good advice on how to look at your own mind and see how it's stopping you and make that so that it doesn't happen. We're in control of a lot more than we think we are. Our happiness is 100% dependent on us. That, I mean, that's what I have found. And if you get, for instance, for myself, if I get angry, let's say someone pulls out in front of me with their vehicle too close and I have to hit the brakes or something like that. I used to get angry and hold on to it. But when I discovered that it's up to me, oh my goodness, I let go of it right away now.
Hmm,
I
hmm,
got rained out of my tent one night in a really violent storm that caught me, and I. But you just deal with it, and
hmm.
you
You
can
with
deal
it.
with it with alacrity. You don't have to. I almost never call anything a problem anymore. So this is part of your mindset and the adventurer's mindset because stuff is going to happen. And I don't think of it as a problem. I think of it as a situation and I deal with it in that moment. So I don't look far ahead. I mean, I'm capable of looking ahead, but I am almost incapable of worrying because
And that's, yeah.
I'm sorry, but we cross all our bridges when we come to them.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. We cross all our bridges when we come to them. Wow. That's profound. And that's also a beautiful way of living, my man. Yeah, beautiful cover. I saw it.
Okay.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing, I tell you. So that's gonna be the end of the show, Ken. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this
Okay.
beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you for reaching out to me, Elisha.